And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Alright, it's getting kinda dirty in these YouTube streets. The Amin Ra squad, God thinking you dudes weak. Islam or Judaism, where you learn what you dudes teach. The West African rappers slapping with that voodoo speech. All that sub-Saharan terror about a cuckoo feet. I'm like Norma, that agricultural farmer that grew you wheat for the storehouses. We feed the Hebrews and lead the people when we defeat the feeble. They wanna know polite rip me off, but Sonetta paid me my money though. That mean he 100. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Nubian with the Jews, I rock the pinky. I think Jesus got to save me. A doctor save me, a Dr. Inky. I cop the copper jewels on blue and red. I'm not the chakra doctor, y'all claim woke. But you in bed, you won't pop a chopper, you Grandmaster J. You just talking. Punks turn the other cheek and you will walk away. Y'all gon' have to pardon my Moorish. That's to Harker Bay. I'm on that black African power on my darkest day. And that's my brother Ankh stomping them other punks. We brought them gators to Italy, you loving the Moors. And now I'm teaching from my shrine like brother Jabari. Scoping the savannah cause I'm on another safari. Tasha K showed us Frank record. Young Pharaoh just losing his mind and y'all can't help him. I know one thing, you're a fool if you're still out here donating to Umar school. That shit through. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh.
Mic check 1 2.
Yo. You showing your hidden colors like Tariq Nasheed. A bunch of pseudo-information I don't think I need. Probably lying on the text, ask Divine or Zion Lax. Just get that microphone ready. With Metal Netta, I'm Stone Jetty. A Ujahu, a Saw Imhotep. Y'all probably timid still on them Bobby Hemmett teachings. I'm in Gozy with the DNA. Cats corny and it's killing me too. You talk that black shit, but you look Arab like Gorilla Hebrew. You need therapy, they telling me just chillin', be cool. I'm a magi archer, you a sad guy talking. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh.
What up? Hope all is well. Hope everybody chilling. We're gonna get right into it. Have us a nice fun day. Arrows up.
The Smash Rockwell Show teaches me all I need to know. Whether it's coming or getting it dough, this is the place to go. The Smash Rockwell Show, giving you way more. The Smash Rockwell Show, and the archers on the go. The Smash Rockwell Show teaches me all I need to know. Whether it's coming or getting that dough, this is the place to go. The Smash Rockwell Show, giving you way more. The Smash Rockwell Show, and the archers on the go. My Giants, my Giants, my Giants, my Giants, my Giants, my Giants. We be killing pseudos and spreading facts. All the disrespectful haters don't know how to act. Black African power, right and exact. Egypt was black, we spreading the dough.
How y'all doing? Welcome to the Smash Rockwell Show. Look, we back live in effect. On their neck like we always be. You know what I'm talking about? That's right. That's right.
Black African power, right and exact. Egypt was black, we spreading the dough. We spreading the back. We spreading the back. We be killing pseudos and spreading facts. All the disrespectful haters don't know how to act. Black African power, right and exact. Egypt was black. We spreading the dough.
Thank you, thank you. Now, another A and B selection by the Marchers, man. The African dimensions of Egyptian origins. The African dimensions of Egyptian origins. Bekri Hassan, 11 May 2021. How y'all doing? Y'all want to have some more fun? We just having fun. How y'all doing, though? Just been chilling, man. Been doing some other stuff. It's hot heat wave summer. Now they got me in the house. The heat wave done brought me in the house. Now I got a stream. We might get some heat wave shows real quick. You feel me? Anybody read this article? Nope. Egypt is an African country situated on the northeastern parts of the African continent. Throughout its long and complex history, the Nile River connected it to other African countries upriver. And its deserts, once verdant due to climate fluctuations, connected it with African regions south and west and with Southwest Asia via the Sinai Peninsula. Situated at a northern fringe of Africa, Egyptians engaged with peoples of the Mediterranean islands and the southern coastal regions. Y'all ain't read this? Let's go on and just chill for a minute. I ain't gonna do readership. What they say is this. Read this. Originally in the eastern and southern parts of Africa, all right? Originating in the eastern and southern parts of Africa, early humans made their way to Egypt. Why he go back that far on their head? They made their way to Egypt. I hope nobody ain't saying it wasn't called Egypt at them times. They made their way to Egypt, which served as an incubator of the early humans that were later to spread from northern Egypt to Southwest Asia, and eventually to the rest of Asia and Europe, permitted by the climatic fluctuations during the last ice age. The genetic split from African Egyptian populations and non-African populations occurred at about 55,000 years ago. They already starting from what we be talking about. But watch how they do the whole article. And I ain't gonna read the whole article. But I suggest you do. That's why I dedicated this show to the article. But I ain't gonna read it all because I don't want to do readership, man. All right, now let's look. At the end of the last ice age, global warming, baby. This is just a quote that we'll read inside of here. All right. I'm just trying to minimize my reading, but forget it. Flavored with agriculture productions and an interrupted flow of the river, irrigated and cultivatable floodplain from Nubia to the apex of the delta, interrupted flow. I'm just making sure. Yeah, it's an interrupted flow of the river. Irrigation of cultivatable floodplain from Nubia to the apex of the delta. And in response to the local fluctuations in agricultural yields, villages in Egypt began the process of of cooperation, creating the ever-expanding alliances that eventually led to the rise of the Egyptian state. All right. At the end of the last ice age, global warming from 18,000 to 10,000 years ago, a transitional period of rapid alternation of dry and wet conditions, permitted an acceleration of cultural innovations. These included the emergence of cultivating domestic plants and the herding of domesticated cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs in Southwest Asia. From there, herding spread into the Red Sea hills into the western desert of Egypt about 7,800 years ago, although cattle herding likely arose independently. Now, I know we have not really had a document to reconcile these arguments we've been having about these points. What's up with the chat? Get your likes up. Let's get it popping. I see y'all. I'm just looking over here. Callie is active. RTP. Social Dilemma. Sadiq, what's up? The Sheriff. Make a comment when you come in, like the video. Let's let them know we're streaming. You feel me? Let me see. Oh, to this point that just made. About some sheep and goats coming in from Western Asia, but the cattle herding likely arose independently. And at that time, African peoples of the Nile Valley depended on fish as a dependable source of sustenance. It says, while people in other regions of Africa diversified their dependence on wild food sources. By around, again, I don't want to read it all, so I'm going to go to the parts that's critical to the things we've been talking about, but I don't mind continuing for a moment. By around 7,000 years ago, when dry desert conditions shaping the desert landscape we know now began to replace the Green Sahara, agricultural production became established along the Nile Valley from the Delta to the Sudan. After the introduction of fruit production in Egypt, desert oases fed by groundwater and areas of hilly ranges and basins began to serve as stations in the cultural connection between Egypt and the Central Sahara, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. All right. Now they say desert oases fed by groundwater and the area of hilly ranges and basins began to serve as stations. Sound like he ripping it. Basins began to serve as stations in the cultural connection between Egypt and the Central Sahara. Now they say stations in the cultural connections between Egypt and the Central Sahara, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. Now, 7,000 BC, the Central Sahara, that's just the middle of the Sahara Desert. I don't know what we would call that right now. Some of y'all just call it the Sahara. But if it wasn't dried up, what would it be called? East, west, what would that be? Central. It would be central. You know what I'm saying? All right. Oh, it says flavored with agricultural production I keep wanting to say uninterrupted. And an interrupted flow of river irrigated a cultivatable flood. See, this is the part I read earlier. I said I didn't want to read twice. So I read that already up into the Egyptian state. In the meantime, agriculture and herding practices spread from Egypt to the Sudan to other African provinces due to ongoing cultural contact among African peoples associated with trade. population movements, and transmission of exchange of ideas and goods. Sorry, I read that like that. It says herding prevailed where pastures were present, whereas farming was practiced where land and water were available. African peoples maintained a political organization known as chiefdoms. Just the way that he said that was great. Maintained a political organization known as chiefdoms, which in later times became the basis of the rise of African kingdoms. In many countries, in response to the changing political situations due to trade and encounters with colonial forces. All right. I ain't gonna read that again because I'm gonna just double read it. The original African populations of the Nile Valley. All right, now let's check this out. See, because he took y'all all the way back to 55,000 BC, but then they go and it says the original. Excuse me, I gotta get this blue thing on so I can read it better. There we go. Oh my gosh. You know I got fumbling and bumbling happening on my mouse. Let's see if this mouse can play. All right, here we go. The original African populations of the Nile Valley who showed a local gradual change in physical traits from south to north due to distance. They said a lot right there, so I want to read that over. The original African populations of the Nile Valley who showed a local gradual change in physical traits, all right, from south to north due to distance, hosted people who drifted from Southwest Asia. All right. Now listen, the people of Nakata from 3800 to 3600 BC, who's supposed to be the first founders of Egypt, near Luxor, were more similar to the earlier herding farming communities in Badari, near Asut, starting around 4400 BC, who in turn were closer in their biological affinity to the Nubians. So what is he saying here? Now they're gonna break it down and be like basically everything we know about these Mediterraneans, they just was chilling in the north. But we clearly see it says the people of Nakata. Everybody see that? The people of Nakata from 3800 to 3600 BC near Luxor were more similar to the earlier herding farming communities in Badari near Asut. All right, around 4400 BC, who in turn were closer in their biological affinities to Nubians. In addition, examination of 12 Egyptian and Nubian groups revealed that they are similar, which indicates that they may have been some sort of gene flow between these groups of Nubians and Egyptians. Now that's funny. Saying gene flow, like who wouldn't know this? Who wouldn't understand that? But saying they the same, man. They just saying this is the same thing. Nakata was Nubian. Now watch how he break it down. Other studies reveal that the elite who ruled in the Nakata region during the Nakata period 3835 BC were an intermarrying segment of the local population more closely related to the population in northern Nubia, y'all. Golly, this is so killing them. Than to neighboring populations in southern Egypt. Do y'all hear that? Now, Nakata, remember, Nakata is your first Egyptians. If you go to Egyptology, Nakata, your first Egyptian. What does this new document say? Other studies revealed that the elite who ruled at Nakata, right? Shout out to Obi. What's up? Show me how to go live in the group and I'm going to get on it. I just been all over the place since I've been back. But yeah, shout out to you. Now it says, other studies revealed that the elite who ruled in the Nakata region during the Nakata period, 3800 to 3500 BC, were an intermarrying segment of the local population more closely related to populations in northern Nubia than to neighboring populations in southern Egypt. So slow down. He just dissed you. Southern Egypt is what we call Egyptian Nubia, basically. If you want to go from Known 4 down, remember that. Known 4 going to be Thebes. The 3 down under that is what they call Egyptian Nubia. Sudanese Nubia is below that. So the parts of Egyptian Nubia that go outside of the modern day borders of Egypt will be considered. All right, now I don't want to mess that up. I don't even want to recapture and rephrase what I'm trying to say. Because look at what they say. They don't say upper or lower, so that's why it kind of messed me up. Because they say northern Nubia than neighboring populations of southern Egypt. So then northern Nubia, we know that's lower Nubia. Right? But my point don't stand because he didn't say upper or lower. He said northern. Nevertheless, this is a very valid point that other studies revealed that the elite who ruled at the Nakata region during the Nakata period, 3800, 3500 BC, were an intermarrying segment of the local population more closely related to populations in northern Nubia than to neighboring populations in southern Egypt. So that even means that they was deeper down in Nubia than Egyptian Nubia, which is southern Egypt. Now look, intermingling with people of the Southwest Asia was more prevalent in the northern parts of the country, where shit ain't being established, where they just running through the bushes and shit. Oh, Delta Marsh, oh. They not setting up the country up there. What's up with Rasan? Long time. I had to take a little break, but I still got to keep my Kemet popping, man. Let me see. We see greater interregional exchanges homogenize the biological profile of Egyptians. Again, greater interregional exchanges homogenize the biological profile of Egyptians, increasing the similarity between the northern and southern populations. We all with that, right? The people who set shit up was down there black, basically. I'm going to put it in layman's terms. And the people who was up in the north not doing shit was everybody else. In control of it right now. Did I say that wrong? Let's read it again. The other studies revealed that the elite, right, who ruled at Nakata, being the fifth known, right, they ran, the Nakata region during the Nakata period were an intermarrying segment of the local population. All right? So I don't know how you just gonna be saying all this. You just wouldn't want to say that they was all the way Nubian, but you gonna say they were an intermarrying segment of the local population who closely related to populations in northern Nubia than to the neighboring populations in southern Egypt. So that was even more blackety black than blackety black. If you want to get mad at that, go ahead. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm saying it. It's black one. Now, intermingling with the people of Southwest Asia was more prevalent in the northern parts of the country. No place close to Nakata. Let me show them. Man, I got to show them the known map, man. So they can understand what dude trying to teach us. About to be cool, you know. Here we go. Now you see all this stuff up here, eh? But nah, man. He talking about nah, man. Down here. All right, now we make the map bigger. We see. Number 5 is what? Nakata. Now he said the people of Nakata had more biological affinities to the people of way down here. See, that's why they messed it up by saying lower. Lower is still northern. So they have more biological affinities to the people down here than to the people who was right here in this circle. So now we know it's different tribes of Africans. Don't think Nubian is a thing. It ain't a thing like that. That's just some shit. Nahesi was all kind of different people. They just from the South. You feel me? So let's go back. Yet another, nope, I read that. Yet another study of the dental features revealed that the Badari and Nakata peoples may be closely related and two. So now, let's go slower. First, he said the Nakata people was closely related to the people down here. Now he's spreading it over because he says the Badarian. Let's go find Badari. We got to know this stuff. Badari gonna be up here. Where Badari at? 11. Should be 11. Yeah, they go. Oh, it is 11. The number 11 popped in my head. So Badari is 11. Right next to Ashyut, just like he was talking about. But you see, when they talk about the Badarians, and they be trying to act like they were some Mesopotamians because they found these things or whatever in their grave or whatever. I mean, I'm just not being specific. They found these porcelain icons in the material culture of some grave, funerary material or whatever, right? But that's Badari. Now let's see what they say. Oh, you gotta see where Badari at is in see, look, this is Badari up here. Here go Nakata. Way down here, if you can see it. That's Nakata. Now what they say. So she told us about the Nakatians being hooked up with the Nubians down here. Now let's leave what they say. The Badarian and the Nakata peoples may be closely related. And two, by 3000 BC, when the Egyptian unified state was established, the Nile Valley became a melting pot of the original inhabitants of the Nile Valley with their southern infinities and drifters from North Africa, Sahara, and Southwest Asia. Now, did you hear that? So, when it started, it was a melting pot of the original inhabitants. Listen, the original inhabitants of the Nile Valley with their southern affinities. So that's them. The original inhabitants got southern affinities. It became a melting pot, so you throw in the they like the water of the melting pot. They like the most consistent ingredient. The original inhabitants of the Nile Valley with their southern infinities and drifters. Did I make that up? And drifters from North African Sahara, so they coming from the west, and Southwest Asia. Now listen, the dynastic period that followed was an indigenous continuation and transformation of the Nakata culture. But what was the Nakata culture? Dang, he thinking. He snitching. Hey, he old school tattletelling. He just stringing them along one by one. They connected to them, and they connected to them, and they all Nubian. Again, let's read what he says. The dynastic period that followed was an indigenous continuation and transformation of the Nakata culture. Let's go back to the Nakata culture and see what he said about it earlier. The original, what do you say about the Nakata? Other studies reveal that the elite who ruled at Nakata and Nakata, it says Nagata, but it's Nakata. Nakata period were an intermarrying segment of the local population more closely related to populations in northern Nubia than to their neighboring populations in southern Egypt. Dang. 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 All right, let's everybody make sure we got more than 4 likes, y'all. Click it. 4 people click it, and then we'll know. Let me see. Intermingling with the people now. So y'all see this, right? Read this whole article. I'm no place close to near it. If I keep reading, you keep gonna get broken off. Look, watch this. I'm telling you, if I keep reading, you're gonna keep getting broken off, dude. Genetically, recent studies reveal that Egyptians include genetic imprints of the people of North Africa and the Horn of Africa, as well as Middle Eastern peoples, indicating the significance of the geographic situation in Egypt and the cultural relationships between Egypt and its neighbors. The early Nile Valley populations were coextensive with the regional African populations, were coextensive with regional African populations and were later in constant contact with other neighboring African populations. Now here you go, they put it in green. The idea of the Arab identity under the slogan of Arab nationalism was most emphasized by President Gamal Abdel Nasser as the means by which the Arab alliance could be established to counteract Western homogenous forces. Nevertheless, Egypt was also a founding member of the Organizations of African Unity and supported independent colonization, blah, blah, blah. I ain't gonna keep on reading. But they breaks it all down, and he's about to talk about how all these invaders come in and how everything is different. He talking about the Romans, Christianity, blah, about Alexander. So read this article, and shout out to the author. What's up with y'all, though? I've been just watching other YouTubes and watching what's going on with hip hop and the battle and all this old crazy shit. I be like, God damn, this shit like a video game. It's like Grand Theft Auto music they playing. They playing Grand Theft music, bro. I mean, first of all, let's be clear. And I just really wanted to be clear. And then this ain't no disrespect to no rapper who got murdered. But the new phenomenon, rappers ain't getting murdered. Don't get that twisted. Like, that ain't what's happening. It's people who they just growing up and they young and they grimy and they do some dirt and make a song. Anybody can make a song. So they do some dirt that people know they did some dirt, then they make a song, and now they're a rapper. I mean, I ain't taking nothing away from nothing. Shout out to them. Hopefully it leads to a path of something better. But that's what's happening. It ain't like these is the motherfuckers who would have just been going to jail anyway and getting smoked anyway. So they just made a song real quick. But anyway, I don't want to get distracted. It's real talk, though. Yeah, Dr. Brim broke this down for us years ago. And this is about to be the earliest I probably open. Oh, you know what? Let me go old school on them. Just to have a chill pill for a minute. 10 PhDs. Let's take a look at it.
A hierarchy of race like that developed by Morton Glidden and still deployed today by white supremacists cannot be sustained if not one but two great black civilizations arose in Africa at the dawn of history. It is therefore entirely appropriate and even necessary to confront constructions of race for Nubia and Egypt in the recent past and acknowledge both civilizations as African and Black.
So did you face any of that type of backlash or harsh feedback from your stance on ancient Egypt?
So yes, but interestingly, I haven't received any harsh feedback from Egyptologists. When I go around and I give talks on this subject, the Egyptologists who've been in the audience of my talks are very receptive, and they think that this is really important work and that I need to keep forging ahead with it. But I have gotten negative feedback, especially over email from Egyptians. So it's an interesting conundrum where there are some Egyptians who will tell me, I mean, these are people I don't know who are just like finding out how to contact me and send me an email and say, what you're doing is wrong. The ancient Egyptian culture was not a Black culture. Modern Egyptians are not Black people. What you're doing is dangerous. You need to stop saying this, which of course, I'm not going to stop saying this. And I try to explain what my work is about. And I also try to explain, you see, our perspective in America on what Black is different from a lot of the rest of the world. And so I try to explain our American context of that word. But yeah, I've definitely gotten some harsh feedback.
First off, the Egyptians, of course, were African, and we have evidence from Herodotus and other sources that Africans tended to be Black, that they were a range of colors that would constitute Black today, and they were actually, the Greek words that are used for them is Black.
Now, don't misunderstand me. I am not saying that the ancient Egyptians were not Black, as we Americans perceive it. They were. The way we define Black, with mixed race one drop rule, the way we define Black as a positive thing, the Egyptians were Black.
So you're suggesting maybe these people migrated north?
Yes, or their culture did, and them. Really east to the Nile Valley, east and north.
East and north.
Yeah,
I see. So today in Egypt, the archaeologists often refer to, and I've been there, to connections between ancient Egyptian culture and the Sumerian culture and the Crete culture and the Persian culture. Yet when you visit Egypt, especially around Aswan in the southern part of the Nile, you see mostly Black people.
Yes, yeah, and we know from the anthropological evidence that the people just predating the dynastic civilization in the Nabta Playa region were Black African people.
I can sympathize with the impulse to sort of to be very strident, to be very argumentative, to be very certain, to act very certain about the Blackness of the ancient Egyptians, because for the longest time, the very longest time, there was this prevailing idea that Black is Africa and Africa is less than, right? That no matter what happens, no matter how you cast it, anytime you fall on the wrong side of that dividing line between Black and not Black, even not between Black and white, whatever's coming from that Black side is going to be less than. And it took people being willing to challenge that orthodoxy, and sometimes in a very ill-informed way, right? Sometimes, it just took people coming up and going, I feel like this, and so I'm going to say it and make it right. And it turns out they actually were in some ways, right? Because now we can look at Egypt and say, the ancient Egyptians are an African civilization. These are people that, by and large, we probably would have looked at and thought, oh, these are Black people.
When it comes to the 25th dynasty, a lot of people are going to commonly call them the Black Pharaohs. You see it online, there's books written titled that, so on and so forth. Do you feel like that distinction has to be made? And how I ask that is, I've noticed online, a lot of people don't seem to think that for some reason you could be Black and be Egyptian. And I've always kind of disagreed with that, because I feel like even though the ancients weren't colorblind per se, I feel that you could be black and be Egyptian. Would you say that is correct?
Yes, I think so. For instance, as I told you before, this kind of, for instance, of Nubian warriors that were settled in Egypt. At some time, they were living a perfectly Egyptian life, and they collaborated with the Egyptians and so on. I don't know if you have in mind, for instance, it's the representation of people carrying a Colossus statue. And there are rows of people, of young people, young soldiers, something like that. And you find Nubians, Egyptians, Libyans, and so on. There was this kind of idea that the local rulers rule, in fact, over say, multicultural society, probably in which the military component was quite important. Military contingents made Nubians of people from Asia, from Libya, and so on. So I think it was perfectly normal that these people, they were black, so they married Egyptians, or inversely, Nubian women, they married Egyptians, and so on. I think there is some evidence, for instance, in the documents of the New Kingdom, of this kind of, of marriage between people from different geographical or cultural or ethnic roots. I think it was no problem at all. As I said before, they could reach very important positions in the kingdom. And for instance, in the late Bronze Age, it was quite normal that very high, Nubians, a very high local position, they built their wonderful and excellent tombs in Egyptian style. They reached important positions in the Egyptian administration, so on. So why not, when black people or people from Nubia, they became far out, well, they continue to represent themselves, sometimes with their very distinctive physical characteristics, and so on. It was, I think, no problem at all.
I've worked in prisons now for 18 years. That was my first time I'd been in a prison. And the teacher who picked me up at the stations, she said, well, you are looking at this as Africa. And I was like, well, yeah, of course I am. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, because she said that's how they, my students see it. And I said, well, how else would they see it? And I remember her looking slightly confused, and then the first sort of interaction I had with one of her students was he came in the room and he said, ancient Egypt is Africa. And I went, yeah, of course. And I think he thought I hadn't heard him properly. And he said, I said it was like African, as in black African. And I'm like, yeah, and what's your point? And I think it was only really that after that experience that I thought, am I in some kind of bubble here or something? And so I started to actually look into the sort of background, really, the sort of, which we're starting to talk about it a little bit more in terms of colonial approaches, but still not directly the racism that Egyptology is founded upon. And at that point, it was almost like a sort of light bulb moment. I thought, well, why is this still the case when we, are we still stuck, 100 years sort of previously in this kind of racist ideology? Why is nobody challenging this? Because other disciplines had. So anthropology had looked very hard at itself in terms of looking at its colonial kind of past. It just seemed that Egyptology was kind of almost stuck there, and it didn't really want to talk about it. So for me, it always was African. It was a bit of a shock to me when I actually started looking a bit deeper into this, and then started having conversations with people and seeing how they responded to that.
I think that the further back in history you go, the blacker the Egyptians are. And by black, I don't merely mean dark skin, but also with other Negro characteristics.
You have spent much of your life studying the history of the ancient Egyptians. Who were the ancient Egyptians? How did they look?
Voilà, les Égyptiens anciens ressemblaient à cette tête que vous voyez. Voici le premier roi de la terre.
Here you have the first king of the earth, the very first. And the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, looked like this man.
Cet homme a des traits, si vous voulez, plus, comme nous disons, vous m'aviez dit tout à l'heure de ne pas employer un terme, mais sur le plan scientifique, c'est un terme consacré. En tout cas, il a des traits de la race noire plus marquée que celle de presque tous ceux qui sont ici dans cette salle.
You can see that he has those traits that are associated with the black
feature.
Those features associated with the black race, which are even more pronounced than many of the people here. It was this man who unified the Nile Valley from Upper to Lower Egypt, and this was 3,300 years before Jesus Christ.
Je passe donc, ce que je vais dire avant de passer au suivant, c'est que vous allez le voir donc déjà d'après ses traits et les traits aussi des pharaons qui vont suivre.
You can see by his features and those of the pharaohs and kings that will follow it
que les anciens Égyptiens n'étaient pas des blancs qui seraient devenus progressivement noirs et en perdant leurs traits.
You can see that they were not a people that were started as whites and became progressively more black.
Mais qu'au départ, c'était des noirs authentiques qui, à la basse époque, vont se métisser avec des blancs.
They were instead a black people, an authentic black people, but which never ceased to be blacks.
Donc, attendez, je dis en un mot. Donc, vous voyez que les anciens Égyptiens étaient des noirs comme tous les autres naturels de l'Afrique, c'est tout.
You can see that the first the Egyptians were black men, like black men that you see in Africa now.
I mean, a lot of questions arise from that, but people, it would seem like we wasn't fighting over this for the last few years. You take a little break and you look at it, it's like, yeah, what's all the fuss about? That somebody actually went against that? Oh my gosh. They were so outdated. Sometimes you can't see the forest. You know they say that. Let me see what this is.
I've been bout my papyrus since I've been in it. Put me in the debate, you know I'm gon' win it. If I scream black power, don't get timid. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary research and we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoke smoking, brother, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to every spot. Woman looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold, your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead. You're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. Don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube and apologize like Dice. Or the back fade coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists sent me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a speller with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up in your car gone. Told, cause of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like Akhenaten City for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happened to change. We on that black hype, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connection, My complexion, pure black, that's the essence. You love me?
Oh yeah. Now check it out. Shout out to Dr. Camille DiBiase Tyson. Cause they ain't getting no quotes up out of hiring her. Man, I got a page of quotes. Here go one of them. See what they say about me going into the TLA. And what does an expert say? She said you are using the corpus correctly to make. Don't have me get the AI voice of her real quick. Let's see how quick we can do that real quick. We need to get our AI voice saying it live real quick. New window. Hold up. Y'all can time me. It don't take long. Everybody know that. I'll just snatch this over here. Go to. We need her saying this so that we can pop her on there saying this. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be like. Don't trip. Some people who count letters know that I just finished the word correctly. To make, now count. Claims, you making. All right, now let's find the nice woman's voice. Let's see. She's gonna sound like this.
You are using the text corpus correctly to make the claims you are making.
Nah. She needs to be excited. Find somebody else. Try this.
You are using the text corpus correctly to make the claim.
You are using the text corpus correctly to make the claims you are making.
Uh-oh. What'd she say?
You are using the text corpus correctly to make the claims you are making.
Oh, man. Hold on. She got to say that a little louder. Let me see. What she say, y'all? We might have to slap her to a track. Does she need a track?
You are using the text corpus correctly to make the claims you are making.
Let's give her a nice track. Something off my last album. Ooh. Yeah. You need a track.
You are using...
Track too loud though.
You are using the text corpus correctly to make the claims you are making.
I'm getting ready for the show I gotta do, so I've been practicing getting them bars up. Too bad it don't sync right. I think that track was too hot. But yeah, that's what she said. So it ain't nothing wrong with going into text corpus, basically, y'all. If you use the TLA correctly to make the claims you're making. You feel me? If you could get a validated. Oh yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Hey, thank you, bro. I had a Dyson. Man, you got, but thank you, Babylon Dog. See how quick that is? See how quick? Instead of just letting it stay up there wrong. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. She was like, my name ain't Tyson. But I'm going to take her down off of here anyway. But it was a compliment to her, even though I had her name as Tyson instead of Dyson. Yeah, I can't wait to spit that right here. This right here. Shout out to Dead Perry. Man, that's that fire. Hold on. They really, oh no, that ain't it. They really don't be hearing that though. Let me see. They really don't be hearing that. That's it. Let me see. Y'all need to sound like. Oh yeah. I just did it on purpose. We'll get back to the cooking in a minute. They probably gonna shut me down for playing my own song. Yeah, but who cares though? Y'all know how it go one time. Matter of fact, they tripping.
Hey yo, airplane bathroom flow. The real chain player
chains, pink ring, glare, flare, the wanted pictures. Rock, fly, Jews, think stone and Jesus. Got blazing hot steel in the way that I feel. Put this burner on the nigga like a tabletop grill. Set up shop on your spot and make 50 G's in it. You'll be that Walmart with the Mickey D's in it. Motor coach, limousine tinted, OGs in it. Call it the whippersnapper, it got 4 P's in it. I heard your click had police in it. And the
Can't wait to hop on stage spitting that, boy.
Now niggas on the gram betting on your trial like I bet he don't say shit. I'm ready to slay shit. Straight spit, I don't play with that penmanship. So niggas won't say shit. Face y'all niggas sound nice when I ain't around. I'm on with the like a table Jesus. Got blare, flare, the one the niggas like ain't play a game. Hey yo, airplane bathroom.
Dang, they didn't hear that? God, that's cool. There's some bars in there. You be having to hear it. Sometimes they can't understand. I just had to play that real quick. Just chilling. Trying to get back on my vibe. Let me see. Airplane bathroom flow. The red chain. Let me see.
The rematch are cattle. In Papyrus Lansing, we read the following. It is the army scribe and commander of the Amun temple flock, Nebmari Nakti, who tells the scribe, Wenemdi Amun. In this text,
just use my sources, y'all, because they don't be wanting to challenge my sources. So just use them. The reason why is because when they look them up, they see that I got a good point. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody have to say I'm right. You ain't got to agree. But they ain't going to refute it because the boy got a point. And this is Brother Reggie's point. And it's what brings the Kemet home. It's what brings the understanding of Kemet home. It's understanding the cattle culture. As they just told us, the cattle culture developed independently.
the scribe uses the phrase Taz Bawum An Tn Par Jam for Amen temple flock. This literally translates to gatherer of cattle of the house of Amun. These are no cattle.
Y'all want to challenge that to see if that's true? Since they don't even be challenging it, I challenge my own self.
Translates to gatherer of cattle of the house of Amun.
Now I said that these ain't no cattle, that they people. Well, you got to go read the original text to understand whether they cattle or people or not. But I'm going to take this first.
Taz Bawum An Tn Par Jam for Amen temple flock. This literally translates to gatherer of cattle of the house of Amun.
So do we think the Amun temple flock, what's up with Tribute Phone? Do we think the Amun temple flock was really a flock of cattle that belonged to the Amun temple that they put a general in charge of?
These are no cattle. This is a fighting contingency commanded by the Army General Neb Mat Renachtu. In the tale of Sinuhe we read, "Indeed, I am like a bull of who cattle in the midst of another herd." In ancient Egyptian, the word jam means young cattle. It also means youth, generations, offspring. His slaughterhouse was full of the enemy's children. The sacrificial cattle consisted of Asiatics.
So when we talk about that document we just got through reading and how it was different from the South and the North, and we read these texts that say the sacrificial cattle in the slaughterhouse consists of Asiatics, it will be hard to convince somebody who read them type of texts that that Asiatic influence was anything bigger than it really was. They over-exaggerated and they try to make it something it wasn't. Primary texts say they wasn't messing with them like that.
During the time of Senwosret I, we find the above text equating Asiatics to sacrificial cattle. The term Wenjut means cattle. Wenjut also means people. In the Loyalist doctrine of Khairsu, line 3...
Oh man, they ain't got around that yet. What happened to Sean? Hey, go get Sean, somebody. Tell him to watch just this part of the video. Hey, peace. What's up, Sean? Hey, yo, would you please respond to this video here in the name of the session? You came out your face and wrote a slanderous document towards Brother Reggie when you could have been helping to further his research. Only thing you ever put out on there on academia.u, and you should at least say, okay, you got a point here, or you could say, nah, I'm going to keep on refuting. But don't just go silent.
6, we read, gather your human herd people. In Papyrus New, we find, I am one of your people, Osiris. This same statement is found in My Herpri text, I am one of your Wenjut Osiris. In all of these attestations, Wenjut can be translated as cattle or people.
Now, why is this important to understand? Because a black herd of divine cattle is called Kemet. And that could be said better, but I said it that way. A black divine herd, to address a herd of black cattle, you say Kemet. Now, looking at this, understanding this, help us to understand that they did not have the race taxonomy. We've been saying this for about 5 years now. Instead, well, not this cattle part, but instead, they looked at things like groups of animals, herds, a herd. And so the word for a herd of cattle would also be used for a group of people. Therefore, that metaphor would develop. Well, okay, we a herd. Well, all herds have one bull, one alpha, that beat up all the others, make sure he the bull of the bulls. Well, that is equated to the king. The Nisu is the bull. He is Kanakit, the mighty bull. Right? So now we got the full metaphor. Now we got, where's femininity in the metaphor? We find it all over Kemet. Cow goddesses. Women doing the Hathor dance. Cut it out. To not see that is just to be crazy. Then I'm showing you all these primary texts since you want to be funny.
In Naksobek's song, Wenjut only means cattle. Otherwise, one will just slaughter oxen for the latch, cattle for the doorstep, a strong gray lag goose for the doorposts, or a gunbird for the lintel.
See, they're not going to slaughter people for the doorstep. So Wenjut could just mean cattle. This will be a short-horn cattle in this instance, a particular type.
In the satirical letter of Hori, we see Wenjut used to say a particular people group. I will be buried with among my group in the mountain of...
Now they switched up. So you think he's going to be buried amongst his cattle? That's what people be messing up. But the translators don't.
I will be buried with among my group in the mountain of the Holy Land of Abydos. It is clear to see that people and cattle were metaphorically symbolic of one another. In the case of Kemet, we should understand the black people of the land to be metaphorically equated to the divine black herd, Kemet. The king of this divine herd is often called the Bull of Bulls, and he is adorned with a symbolic bull's tail which encapsulates this divine bovine metaphor. Ancient Egyptian cattle culture spawned new ideas in Kemet, while the society was going through formative changes. Each intermediate period brought new social norms to Kemet, and most of them seemed to be based on interactions with people who appeared foreign in nature, tongue and skin color, as stated frankly in the Hymn to the Sun. In the Hymn to the Sun, we can find text that reveals some of the precursors to race taxonomy, or group classifications based on appearances, language, and nature. The text reads, "Tongues are different in speech, and so is their character. Their skin color is different because you differentiate the foreigners. Before
know what contention people had with that text. But it couldn't say that no more clearer. I gotta rewind that.
Different because you differentiate the foreigners. Before this, in the 12th dynasty,
Hold on, dude. I just found the Kemet on that papyrus right here, dude, by accident. Now look down here. Ain't this crazy? It looked like a seer, but it's a Kim. And then it got this shim after it or whatever. Well, y'all see that? It ain't moving at the bottom of the screen, so I can't get this off. But right down there, I just stumbled on it.
Before this, in the 12th dynasty, Stele of Mentuhotep, London UC 14333, Mentuhotep said, "People are of the same skin." This word for skin was yenim. This can mean skin, the hide of an animal, or skin color. So
I ain't mad at what DiBiase Dyson said about that right there. Then I was calling her Tyson. She said that it could mean cut from the same cloth. All right, I ain't mad.
we all can see the ancient Egyptians saw skin color to be synonymous with the hide of an animal in the term yenim. And the animal we see most frequently compared to ancient Egyptian people groups is the bovine, particularly cattle. This is very important in understanding the term Kemet, which also meant a herd of divine black cattle. After looking at these primary sources, what Brother Reggie Marby proposes about Kemet being the divine black herd of people is quite plausible.
Let me open up a Zoom. Let's see. Oh, see. Oh, there. Shout out to the people in the chat. I see y'all. Let me see. If y'all want to say something, I'm about to share a link. I still ain't erased this bot. I'm gonna erase this bot, but I never open Zoom unless
Recording in progress.
Let me remove this right now. I need to remove it forever.
Recording stopped.
No, it's under apps or something. Which app is that? Something about recording. Maybe it's this meeting recaps. Yeah, I need to turn this off. All right, forget it. I'm gonna do it later. See, I do that every time. See if I can share this link. I know, right? That's what I was saying. That Imhotep. But, and cutting cloth, come on now. I mean, putting that modern idiom on them back in the day is crazy. So with DQ. That good guy in the building. See if I can pin this link. What up with it?
Peace to you. Peace to everything you do. And glad you back on the scene.
Yeah, I wish I've been having more time, but it's been summertime and it's been family time and all kind of stuff.
We already know that. It's just I don't know how they lumping everything together. They disrespected Diop, trying to put Diop and Terrence Howard in the same sentence. It's just I don't be getting anything.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't listen, so I messed up.
Nah. Anytime them dudes say something, they put you in the wrong perspective. If I'm on
Order
their
some.
show telling them, I'm telling them they wrong, and they try to do it with you too. Try to say Diop was wrong and you was wrong. So I'll be like, nah.
Well, hey, can't argue with people forever.
But we do got an audience, and you have to teach your audience. That's my thing about going on other people's shows.
Yeah.
Just to teach their audience that, some stuff is reality. You don't have to deal with they certain people dogma about what really went on. You could, look at the text or look at the conversation, even with the lady that made Garfield take down the interview. You could look at the email between you and her and find out why she told Garfield to take down the interview. It's just simple. That's my point.
Yeah, it wasn't no malice. It was just to be like, to get rid of the issue, because she said some things that were incorrect, and I was pointing it out. I did my video, and she she wanted me not to, she didn't ask me to take mine down at all.
That's my point. That was my whole point. You understand? Like,
yeah, she did for real though. But what she did was say, I'm gonna ask them to take theirs down. And so in a sense, that was saying to me, if you do that, then
can you? Right.
Yeah.
She's going to tell them to take it down. But saying that is to say that, can you take it down? So that's two different conversations.
She said she wanted to discuss that stuff in private, actually.
Do you understand? Like, that's two different ways for she asked you. Basically, she didn't really ask you, but telling Garfield to take it down is like asking you, can you take it down? It's not telling you to take it down, it's really asking you. And that's all I try to clear it up with them.
Well, it is what it is. They put it back up on a different channel, just like just like a scammer would do. You feel me? Put it up, hope to hide it from her, put it on a different channel. Oh yeah, somebody asked what I think about Busta Rhymes saying Puerto Ricans helped start hip hop. If that's what his perspective was, then I'm pretty sure it's some truth to that to him. The first shit that I was knocking that wasn't black was Mantronics, and that was a long time ago. If they was black, then excuse me. But I thought they had some Mexican vibes and shit. That, Mantronics, Latin, Puerto Rican, shout out to them. You feel me? Now, if y'all was bumping some other Latin West Coast, you didn't have none of that. So he talking about at some times, maybe some parks he went to, where his people was helping to support hip hop. I don't see what would be the matter with that. But acting like it was not a black thing is crazy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I hate that notion because like I like my family's from half of my family on my mother's side is from South Carolina, and half of my father from Antigua. And I'm not gonna lie about it, but if hip hop is an African American thing, there's no Puerto Rican, music to it. There's no Jamaican music to it. So to say that it got elements of other ethnicities, if I'm probably not pronouncing the word right, but that's false. You will hear it. Like I know if you listen to the Jam Master not Jam Master, God damn, James Brown, and everybody take that instrumental for that bim bim bim. That so it's like we know where it comes from, and we know the older hip rap lyrics from older black people, so we know where it comes.
That's the problem, and I don't like to be one of the people who say hip hop and rap and separate the art of rap from the culture of hip hop. But they're not talking about the art of rap. They're not talking about the art of rapping and shit. you had to be. I mean, rapping was like 98% black when it came out. It was other people who tried the shit because it's just rhyming. But that shit was at least 9. I mean, if you want to say 70%, 60%, I'm like, damn. That's because you was at the beginning of that shit. I wasn't there. What's up with Reggie?
Hey, good brother. How are you? Good to see you on. I'm sorry I missed the early part. In the context of Medu Netra, what did you discuss today? I have some questions.
Oh yeah, I didn't even discuss much. I just was talking about why Sean didn't come back and do a follow up and address all these cattle attestations that prove that Egyptians did see themselves as cattle.
What's his name? Kevin Phillips? That's who you're talking about, Sean P?
Oh yeah, I wasn't. I just was sending. I mean, I wasn't going in. I know y'all got some adversity, so yeah.
No, I'm not. It's not that. It's just his name is Kevin. It's Kevin Phillips. That's what he wrote his article on when he wrote his rebuttal on my article. He wrote as Kevin Phillips, and so I address him that because that's where the issue is. And so he did a video.
No, he didn't do no video. No.
Oh, so
no,
what
I was saying showing in my video all of the different sources that attest to your claim.
Okay, I'll claim.
I got another one, man.
Okay, so this is Jonathan Winneman you're talking about? Are you talking about this show that Garfield and Onk did with Jonathan Winneman?
Oh no, so tell me more about that show. I don't even know much about that
Okay,
show.
so Jonathan Winneman, he goes on and he says that the cattle glyph is not a cattle glyph. It is just it means female cows. So it doesn't mean male and female. It means female. It means female cows. And in
the cattle glyph, which particular cattle glyph?
The glyph that we say divine herd.
Oh, so when we see the cow glyph, that means female cows?
No, when we see the Kemet glyph, that means divine black cattle. He's saying that is not divine black cattle.
And he's saying that based off what?
What he did was, if I can get set up in a minute, I'll play it, right? I'll play it, and basically, he looked at the. So let me get set up and play it. That's gonna just take me a few seconds.
For the layman's, Reggie. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Nah, for the layman's, for like people like me, is he changing his stance to say that those are cows with an S?
Yes.
Like, okay, that's one of them.
Yes. So I'm gonna I think I have it right now. Just gotta fix my screen so I can play it and play the preview. So this is what he said. Okay, great. Okay, so let's see if I can share my screen. Where's the posted? I'm sorry. I have to navigate so I can show exactly what's going on. So I'm going to say share screen. So I'm working on doing a show on this, but I want you to hear. Okay, so all right. Oh, okay. So do you see my screen? Okay. So now let me just play it.
We got to do the cattle. Because the cattle is what they're using to say, hey, you see, if the cattle says X, Y, and Z, why don't this mean black? I got it. I got it right here. So this saying that this means black cattle, but you brought up something earlier that this is actually a what?
Yeah, so this is a word. So if they just wanted to say black cattle, meaning male and female cattle, they would have just been able to say kem. So kem or kemu.
Okay, so he's saying now that black cattle, if they want to say black cattle, they would just say chemo. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. So now I'm just saying that he has to show examples in the text of Kim and Kimmel as black cattle in the textual sources. So he has to show that, right? Okay. So now, okay, let's go back. I messed that up. I had it right. So, okay, so let's hear it.
So, or Kemu.
So this is what I'm saying, that he must show examples of Kim and Kimmel in textual sources. I will show that black cattle is Kemet, right? And so, okay. So I tried to help the audience to understand what is going on. So here I show examples of where it is not, it is Kemet, black cattle is Kemet, not Kimmel or Kim. So here it says over here, he protected the black herd of Apis, right? So that's one of my sources. And then I have another source, right? So what he did was he now ignores the feminine T as a collective now with the plural. He makes it just female cows. And that's what he did on that show. So then I show two examples that are tested that actually say, here's the other one, where it says, here's another example where he says he caused the to flourish the black herd in a great offspring, where this is where black cattle is Kemet, okay? Just like the black herd of people is Kemet. But he's now saying, oh no, that's that this glyph right here does not mean black cattle. He's saying this means female cows. Now let me see what else he said.
Oh, and he's leaving out the black female cows?
Say what?
He didn't say black female cows?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean black female cows.
Yeah, I know. I just was seeing how far off he was. Yeah.
So he did for them. What he did for them was, okay. So this means black female cows to him. Now watch what he says.
Cases that they're talking about a feminine thing, and in this case, they're probably talking about cows, specifically female cows. So cows that are, they're not bulls, so you can keep a lot of them together. They're not going to be, necessarily violent, and they're not going to kind of, challenge each other for dominance. They're going to be cows that produce milk, that are very, very, convenient to have in a domestic context, that then when it becomes time to kind of create offspring, you just bring in a single male bull of whatever color that you want.
Now, now he says bring in a male bull, whatever color, right? Just remember that, family. Then he goes,
and then kind of he mates with all the females, and then you move him away so that he's not a problem or a distraction. So I think that's how I would translate this word as black cows.
So he takes that Kemet, which I showed in two sources in the rock tombs of Mir, where they translated as Kemet, meaning the black cattle. He says black cows. Now on his statement about bringing in a cow of any color, then we have Melhepri, and they bring in the male cow, the male bull, and he is the husband of the cows. That's him right here. And he mates with the 7 divine cows, right? He mates with the 7 divine cows. So they don't just bring in any bull, right? Their preference is to bring in a black bull, and that's from Melhepri. So then,
but Reggie,
yes,
I'm asking because you see how you and Smash Rockwell are very, well learned about this, and let's face it, Garfield and Unc is not. So you see how Smash Rockwell could
Your mic went out. Your mic went out.
Right. So
Oh, my bad. Do you think that's the problem? My bad.
well, the problem is that they've created a new model where they can bring in an expert who may be an expert, but not an expert on this particular subject, particularly on Kemet. And for him to say that that word, Kemet means female cows, what he does is he avoids the fact that it's a feminine T, but that feminine T is a collective. So he ignored that and made it a plural for black and put the T as far as cows to make it cows and to make it a cow, and then the plural to make it cows. So he did that, and then this is what else he said on that, right? So what he did is he created a new grammar rule where then he ignores for that the collective, the feminine collective, T, right? So then,
Or black female cattle rather than black cattle in general.
so this does not mean black cattle. This means black female cows.
Wow, wow, hold on. That changed the game totally, because they were saying this is the black cattle as in plural. And then since this sign looks similar to the other sign, this means black.
How would that change the game totally? Garfield puzzle. He still said they was black cows, so what is he talking about?
But it's not black cows.
I know, so keep going. So make your point. I'm gonna mute up. Go ahead.
It means black cattle, right? And so Jonathan Winterman is changing the game from other Egyptologists.
That's where the argument is.
Okay, so if one converts glyphs to mean cows, the relationship does not match. However, in all cases, it's shown that it means cattle, black cattle. Dr. Winterman would have to show a case to show that he is correct. He just can't say so. I have to fix that. So Dr. Winterman, he doesn't show cases where Kemet is black, is in fact the black cows. But now we have, let's see if I did it right here. Okay, so then we have from the rock tombs of Mir.
So let's be clear. The difference between cows and cattle, you saying the cows are as a group of all feminine.
That's what Dr. Winterman is saying.
And cattle could be male or feminine. I mean,
right.
Yeah, okay, great. I'm just making sure I got the point. Go ahead.
So if I would turn to a textual source to find out how would they have said black cows, well, we have in the rock tombs of Mir, we have this term right here, the Ehet, which is the cows, right? Ehet cows, and then we have Kem, we have black cows. So the ancient Egyptians would have wrote it Ehet Kem if they was talking about a black cow, or if they wanted to make it plural, they would use the plural marker here on the term Ehet, not on the term Kemet. You understand that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So I have an attestation that says they would have written black cow as Ehat Kim, right? Rather than, or if they wanted to say plural, they would have said Eatu Kim, right?
Well, I got that text. You want to look at it?
Oh no, I got it.
Okay, which one you got? Show me. Oh, that one right in front of my face.
Yeah.
So you saying that, but all right. So why is the the Kim is after the cow word?
Right.
Eot is feminine. Oh, that's a cow.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to say black cows, they would say Eatu Kim, right? Meaning black cows. Make the Ehat plural, or put a plural. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
But Jonathan Winterman is saying that Kemet, that Kemet is black female cows, and that's not correct. So let's see what else I have on this. So what he did was, they're concerned now about the collective Kemet for cow, for herd, it being equivalent grammar to the collective of the seated man and seated woman. So now they are attacking the Kemet and saying that Kemet now means black cow. And that is
So they're trying to take the divine. I'm trying to understand. They're trying to take the divine part of it out, or the
no, they're making they're doing this. They're making this not they're making this not herd, right? They're making this simply female cows, right? But he's playing with the grammar because the T here with the plural makes this a feminine singular collective. But they're making it not a collective, but a plural for cows, for female. So they're taking this T and they're saying that this T right here, right, is now associated with the classifier. This T right here is associated with the classifier, so this makes this black cows, right? But then he double speaks because in his previous conversation they had with you, Smash, he said that this T right here makes it that which is black, right? And then this thing right here, right, is though it seems like it's a female cow, I'm saying that this is the short version of what they wrote. So first I need to find out if you agree that this means black cows instead of black herd.
Oh, me? Oh, you can hear me. Unfortunately, I think it means black herd, male or female.
Right, male or female.
Yeah.
So then, so the let's go over here. So the issue is here that when I show,
I'll be right back. Go ahead.
when I show direct attestations, you say you're leaving? So I'm saying,
he said he'd be right back. But Reggie, like I said, I'm not to cut your wisdom. I'm trying to understand. Well, not understand. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to show that I think the problem is that Garfield and Unc is not up to your level. Let's be honest, and they can't explain it like you're doing it right now to Jonathan Winterman.
well, I do know, right? But my problem is not with them right now. My problem is with Jonathan Winterman, because here is Kemet right here with the plural, and it means black herd, right? And over here in this text, it means the black herd. And so I'm not worried about, I know what Ankh and Garfield is trying to do, that they're just trying to get sound bites to let people know to convince the people something that is not true. But there's another problem here, is because when we go here, this is the long form of Kemet, the herd, from the TLA. Kemet, and now you have the male part and the cow, and this is the long form that is going to be converted to the short form, which is going to be this right here. This is the short form. This is the long form.
I remember spending like 3 hours looking for that.
So what you're saying is he is saying that the hieroglyph that's under the owl is what's making it cow instead of cattle?
Yeah, he's saying that in this case right here, he's saying that the this T is being associated with this to make it cow, but the textual record that was written says that this is Kemet right here. Kemet is the black cow. And so he is trying to say that this T is associated with the classifier rather than making this T making a collective for herd.
And the classifying is being feminine for cow.
Well, the grammar is called a feminine singular collective, right? The feminine singular collective in this particular matter makes it a collective is not associated in making it cows, but making it a collective.
Which would be
making
cattle.
it right, making it a herd.
Correct. A herd, which is a cattle. Cattle is a herd, right? And so what he's doing is, okay, there's a difference between a plural, which is like cows, right?
And but the source on the screen say the cows of the herd.
The source on the screen said, okay, so it says, I protected the black herd. So let's just do it, right? This kind of like, what is it? Karui Ta Kemet. This is, I protected the black herd of Apis, right? Then over here, right? Then it says, which is strayed from the herds. So this is the, which is strayed from the herds, right? And then he says, I made the cows of the herd. I made the cows of the herd in parentheses, right? All more, but that's in parentheses. He made the cows of the herd all more divine. So when you say that's on the screen, that's in parentheses. They're trying to understand more. He made the cows, but let's see where he's talking about that. He's over here talking about, okay, this is Desher, right? More divine, right? And then so there's a term that they're equating to black cows. So over here he made the stop. He basically saying he made the stop.
Go down 2 lines.
Right. So what does this mean right here?
I see Neu, but Neu, Kemet, Erie Sue. They making some cows. They doing something about making some cows on one day, but Neu Kemet, these black cows created. I mean, Ariu is somebody who. Ari is somebody who makes, right? So what does it say over there about creating or making or something in the translation? Oh, I made them. Remember? Yeah. So that's where it said maker. So that's the line about making them more divine. So where's the divine? Where you see the share down there?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't see. I was looking up the desert. This desert over here.
Oh, that's the look. It says I enlarged their boundaries. You see that down there? So right after that, right there. You right on that. So above that is when, because you got to realize the majority of everything we see in the translation is in parentheses. So that's not in the text, just like you pointed out. So the only thing we're going to see above enlarging their boundaries is I made them all more divine than the black herd.
That's correct.
So we see that line right above it.
Right.
I mean, if Sue Sep or whatever means make them more divine, because what else in that means something about divinity?
Right. So, well, my point is that they in parentheses is cows, but in the text it says herd.
I wonder what a Sue Sep means at the end.
This one.
So Eri Sue is I made them. Eri Sue, but what is this that Sep right there with the feet walk?
This right here.
I'm calling it a Sep because I only see an S and then that circle.
Well, they have a footnote there in the.
Do they got the transliteration with this?
No, no, that's just in the rock tombs of Mir. But I think that they have a footnote, so let me see if I can find it.
Well, something about some days or something.
Right,
I
but my
enlarged
point
them.
is,
Go ahead.
my point is, they're not talking about cows, that's inserted.
Well, I get your point, and I agree with your point, but it says cows in the parentheses. So even whoever wrote this was referring to cows at some point. But that ain't contradicting your point. Because what the overall source, that's in parentheses. So we want to know why in these parentheses are they saying cows, basically, instead of cattle.
Oh, because when he says he's making them more divine, the only way you can make them more divine is with male and females.
Interesting.
Right? So he's saying by sex, by sex. But my point is, in the text, where do you see cows?
I don't.
Right. And that wasn't a parenthesis, that's line 8. So I'm not gonna get that. So if you're reading English, it says, I made them, and they interpret, instead of saying, I made them all more divine, that's what the text says, then they're black herd. So my point is that Jonathan Winterman is incorrect when he says this.
So there would have been no T. You see, there's the kind of like this initial sign, and then there's an owl, and then there's that kind of half circle. This is the half circle is the T. If they, excuse me, if they just wanted to say black cattle, there would be no T.
Okay, but then I go to the TLA, and here it is, black cattle with the T.
Well, he messed that up.
I'll just do it again.
So there would have been no T. You see, there's the kind of like this initial sign, and then there's an owl, and then there's that kind of half circle. This is the half circle is the T. If they, excuse me, if they just wanted to say black cattle, there would be no T.
Okay, so the problem is this is the long form. This is when you stepped out. This is the long form of divine herd, and in some texts they leave out the phallus, right? But from the TLA, this means black cattle, the divine herd. Okay, so then what he does is that he goes over here. Well, then he's talking to you. So you got to remember when he was talking to you about how Kemet functions, this is now he contradicts himself. So this is what happens. Yeah.
I guess as just a kind of just general kind of statement before we begin is that like I do not pretend.
Let me see if I can make it louder. Sorry.
To be able to tell you what the Egyptians thought, or kind of what they definitively meant. Egypt was, people are diverse, people are complicated, every term has multiple meanings. So just because, from a grammatical perspective or a textual perspective, it might seem like it means one thing in one context, doesn't mean that in another context, it doesn't mean something completely different.
Okay, so the problem is what he's saying is true, right? But the issue is that he's not showing any textual sources, right? So to help us to see if it means anything else. So then he says this. This is his lesson that he gave us on how the femininity works. I'll make this louder. Sorry.
Interesting thing. You said this was a debate that was happening in the 70s. This debate is still going on today, and especially within Egypt and the surrounding areas, and it's not a pretty debate. It's an extremely ugly debate where very, very nasty things are said. So I also just wanted to kind of, acknowledge that. And you see especially, I feel like you see especially kind of more authoritarian systems of power kind of trying to
Okay, so, okay, here.
what? So
Okay, so now he gets to where, so this is the lesson that contradicts him, right? One show he says something, and then the next show he says something different.
So to go back to the comments of Sauron. So basically what he is saying is that you quite correctly point out that the words for black in Medi Necher, should we call it, is Kem, or what comes out in Coptic as Kema or Kem, something like that. The way that the Egyptians made abstracts was with a feminine.
Okay, so now he's saying he's making an abstract with a feminine. So let's go to this one right here. He's making an abstract with a feminine. So this is Kemet, the abstract thing.
So if they wanted to say like the black person, what they would have probably written, again, theoretically, because I can't really tell you any examples that I have of them calling anyone, whether it's themselves, a foreigner, a Nubian, a black person. I don't think that I have any examples of this.
Okay, so Smash had given us so many different examples, which I have to plug in, right? Of them saying the reward for the black person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So the dark-skinned elder, the black elder, Smash has already given us that. But so I'm gonna put those things in, but watch this.
But what they would have done, so they would have used the phonetic signs Kem, and then they would have had a classifier of a seated male. And again, there's ways of even distinguishing.
Make this louder, sorry. Okay.
Between foreign and or Egyptian and foreign in the way that that seated figure would have looked. So for example, if they show an Egyptian man or someone like kind of culturally coded to be Egyptian, then you can tell that they're understanding this person is Egyptian. If they show them, perhaps with a feather on their head or, with kind of some other kind of foreign significance or signifier, then this might be showing that they are, being distinguished from the normal Egyptian population. But again, we don't have any of this.
Okay, Smash has showed us a bunch of cases.
As far as I'm concerned, we don't, or as far as I know, we don't have any kind of people that are called the black people, to my knowledge. Well, so then this is interesting here because basically, so now we're looking at something. This is again, it's so interesting because it gets into the complexity of a language that involves both phonetics and figurative depictions. So you might look at this, if we got rid of the two-seated people and the plural strokes below them, we might look at this and say, oh, this means black women. But then we clearly see in the...
Okay, so here he's saying if you get rid of all of this with the T, that would be black women. So get rid of all of this with the T, that would be black women. No, that would be Kemet. That would be just simply Kemet, that which is black, right? Okay.
Classifiers, that there is both a man and a woman. So therefore, we have to understand this differently. But we still have to take the T into account.
Okay, so we're gonna take so he's gonna take the T into account. Fine. Okay, so let's go here. Sorry. I'm doing this from my editor. Okay. Okay, so what I wanted to show here was the long form of Kemet has both the bull, the cow, and the bull, right? The long form. The short form is this Kemet right here, which I've shown in the Rock Tombs of Mir. Okay, so now.
Again, if they just wanted to say black people, if they're saying a plurality of male and female individuals, then they default to the masculine plural, just as many contemporary languages do. If there's a kind of a mixed group of men and women, you can use the masculine.
So he's trying to say that this Kemet right here is not a black herd,
that you would default to the masculine to say Kimo. So he's using a sonorant argument.
Instead of, and you don't use the feminine plural. The Egyptian language worked the same way, but here we have that T. So now we have to take that T into account. So basically, this now, if we take the T into account, it must describe the abstract notion of that which is black.
Okay, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that on with the bulls. He doesn't take the T and make it the abstract, that which is black. He makes it feminine, cow.
But then there are people that are said to be belonging to that which is black. So this is a word, this is a grammatical term that is in Semitic languages called a nisba. And it's basically when you take an adjective or a concept and make it a noun. So instead of
We
saying
gotta
like
hold on. We gotta pause right there too, because this ain't a nism. He's forcing it. He's making it be one.
Wait, I'm pausing.
To be happy.
Right.
He's making it be commit to you in order to influence his point. Those people don't necessarily belong to what's in front of it. They could be, I mean, what's in front of it could be indeed describing them.
Right. So this would mean Kemet. This is how we read it.
So it's what type of people, right? Yeah, Kevin, go right ahead. I'm going back on mute.
That which is black. So this is a word, this is a grammatical term that is in Semitic languages called a nisba. And it's basically when you take an adjective or concept and make it a noun. So instead of saying like, what's a good example? Instead of saying like the verb to be happy, you say the happy one. And you usually do this by adding a Y, which is unwritten usually in the hieroglyphic writing system because it is a weak consonant, and then additional gender or plural markers. And I think that's what we have going on here. So we have.
So he's made this a nisba, right? He's made this a nisba, but what is the sound of the nisba? He's making it commit to you?
A kind of Y that is not written, and then a plural marker. The plurality is reinforced by the figure of the man and the man and the woman. So basically this means those who are of Kemet. So maybe those who are of that which is black, those who belong to it, those who are associated with it. In the most general terms, in the way that it's normally translated, in a way that I know, again, I know is causing debate, but might be Egyptian.
Okay, so if this is Egyptian is a collective, right? It's a noun. It's a collective noun, right? And so it's the same thing as over here. This is the black herd. It's a collective, right? Okay. So again, there are no Egyptians. The people called themselves Kemet as a collective herd of a special type of cattle, the black cattle. This special type of cattle was the Kemet, the sacred black herd. Running to the word Egypt destroys the meaning of Kemet. So we run or Kem. So if we run to the word Egyptian, that's easy for them because then they can play these games. They can leave out the black portion and just call them Egyptians instead of Kemet or the black herd. Okay, so
rather than black people.
Okay, that was very definitive. We won't be arguing that anymore.
So now Unc goes, oh, that's definitive. We won't be arguing that anymore. How does he know it's goddamn definitive, Unc? How do you know it's definitive? You don't know grammar. You don't even know where to look for it, right? But you're going to say that that's definitive because you're going to fool the audience. Okay, so
Another thing too, if they're already black, why do they need to write that here?
now this is the main part, right? So now watch this.
Already black, why do they need to write that here?
Okay, so if they're already black, why do they have to make themselves black, right? So this is the moment, y'all, where these are not colleagues. Shout out to my Kendrick Lamar. These are not colleagues. These are colonizers. So this is the moment where Black people who don't know the meta nature say that everything that Jonathan Winterman said was correct, and they have a group conversation with someone doing Egyptological talk, who's an Egyptologist, who doesn't believe that Kemet means Black people, and they're saying, here it goes again.
They need to write.
Okay, let me just play it again. Okay, here goes.
And then Black people. Okay, that was very definitive.
That's definitive, right, Unc? It's real definitive, but you don't know the grammar. Okay, but he says so. So that's your model to put Egyptologists doing Egyptologist speak who use the word Egypt, Egyptology, Egyptian to take away the Black reality, right? And now you have your moment.
Another thing too, if they're already Black, why do they need to write that here?
So now they all get to chuckle. Jonathan Winterman, Garfield, and Brother Ankh get to chuckle. So you all know my work. My work is basically Kemet means sacred Black, like a divine herd, the divine Black herd, whether it's cattle, whether it's cattle or whether it's people. Okay.
But hey, not me. I don't want to get. No, I just want to get this because I'm.
Okay, so what else does Ankh say? So they both, Jonathan Winterman smiles.
John are arguing, friendships is falling apart. You said this Kemet debate will break up friendships. I heard you say it. You was like, man, it get ugly.
Kemet debate should not break up friendships. But again, it's interesting that, it's always, I think, worth asking.
Okay, so I didn't put any, I'm still working on the video. So what does the chat, so all I'm saying, just to recap, the long form of Black, this is the short form of divine herd, right? Divine herd, a collective. I show it by the sources. I protected the Black herd of Apis, right? Fine. I show it here again. I caused to flourish the Black herd and their great offspring, right? So here's the offspring right here. This Mayam, Mu, this is the offspring, right? The offspring, right? Of the Black herd. But this is the Black herd, this is the offspring, and this right here is the Black herd. Where Blackman says it in Ratombs of Mir. So the long form of Kemet is this thing right here, which gets shortened to that form right here, and this is the long form, if I can find it. Yeah, if I can find it, I think it's here. So this is Kemet, everybody. This is Kemet with the phallus and the cow. In some texts, the phallus is not here, but this word is Kemet. So Kemet, cattle, Black herd, collective, feminine singular collective, Black herd, Kemet, the people. This is up here. A feminine singular collective, the Black sacred people. The Black sacred down here, the Black sacred herd, which is the cattle. This is the sacred Black herd, the people, and then we have the other text that shows that in the Book of Gates, where all humans are the Netter Awat. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I want your comments.
I see what you're saying. That's put together well, and I feel what you're saying. I mean, what else can I say? You just pointed it out.
Yeah. How does Dr. Jonathan Winterman change all of a sudden says that Kemet is that which is black, and then you deal with the classifiers to see what is black, and then make that cows instead of cattle, where other Egyptologists said that meant the black cattle herd, right? And how does he make it black cows when I showed the example that when they did use black cows, they call it the Ehad Kem for black cow. So I was going to do the presentation tonight to talk about all of this, but I wanted to talk about it with our family just to see what.
Oh yeah, do that tonight. That'll be hot.
Yeah, I was going to do it at 7. I got some other editing to do.
Well, you better hurry up. I'm about to shut down in a minute anyway, so you can do the rest of that editing. Cyrus, you had something you was trying to say?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out because I was on a panel with Asar and Chief X yesterday, and basically they was going back and forth about the fifth hour picture when it got the Nubians on it, where it shows the different races, and
Yeah.
then you got the two Nubians on there.
I know what you're talking about.
So basically, Asar was defending himself by saying that there was a mistake with the figures. I'm trying to figure out, like, have you heard him try to, like, have you heard his spill on that? Because I was trying to figure out what did he mean by there was a mistake. Like, you're saying that the people themselves that put this together made a mistake?
That's what he's trying to say. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that the ancient Egyptians, under whoever commissioned this in the tomb of Ramses III, made a mistake.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to say. And then if I show you a picture of it, but I think I got one from the tomb of Ramses or the tombs of Seti. I think the tombs of Ramses is the only one where it's black. Jay Mill gave me a picture of it. It's not even one character. They act like it's one character. It's literally 4 black dudes that represent the Egyptians. And they said
exactly.
And they said he made a mistake on all 4.
That's crazy. And then I'm trying to understand. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, you're saying they made a mistake. Okay, that's all the way out. And then they also write Ramesh next to it. So my question is Ramesh like a general name for the population or a specific group of people? Like, you know what I'm saying? What does Ramesh really mean now?
Now, Reggie, you want to answer that? It's me and Reggie been talking about that for a minute.
No, because Smash beat me up on it, and I'm not gonna I'm a hold that until I get. But
well, I don't think I beat you up, but Ramesh. It seems like these words have an evolution, as well as they have a semantic range. And some people like Ujahu will fraudulently argue that the only term that the ancient Egyptians used to distinguish themselves is Ramesh or some shit like that. Nah, I mean, I might have misworded his argument, and for that, I'm wrong. But I'm saying that ain't necessarily true. There's this term in the Book of the Gates. Those people who represent the contingency of Egyptians are called Ramesh. But they are also called something else. And people don't want to understand it. They're called Ramesh and they're called Nehes.
Yes.
Now see, people want to act like the Nehes represents something different than, for instance, we know it represents cardinal points like who's to the east, the west, and to the south or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they, in that text, they use deities to separate, like deities like one gnome is under the same deity.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, they use deities to separate the Egyptians and the Nubians are under Horus, but the Libyans and the Asiatic are under Sekhmet. And now some argue that the text says, and it's right at a crucial point of the text where you could translate it either way to where it says they smite the Nubians, or you could continue reading and it'll say that they smite the Libyans. It's the way that you parse it and the way that you, I mean, it's all about the grammar. But if you break it down, Horus is a protector in that text of the Nubians and the Ramesh, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's another similarity between, it wasn't just a visual similarity. When you read the text, those two that look black are also under the same God or under the same nature. Hey, Rue. Right? And maybe you want to add something to that or not, Reggie?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's this metaphor, the tears of Ray, right? So that they are okay, so all these herds are born from the tears of Ray. And I don't want to say anything Smash, because I don't want you to beat up on me,
No,
but
I'm not. Go ahead. Say what you
I
gotta say. It's all good.
there's we always insert we always say Ramesh is the long form and wretch is the short form, and my belief is that the wretch or the people of the civilization, and the Ramesh is all humans. And yeah, so that's so
Just
when
basically a general term for the population that's there.
yeah. Ramesh is but the problem is that when it's opposed to other people, so when you have the Amu and the other the Nehesu, right?
Mhm.
Then they're calling themselves the human beings, and they're calling the other people not. That's one way to look at it. The other
Mhm.
way to look at it is that they're calling themselves the wretch, which is the citizens, because all of the humans are remet. So I just think that that is kind of like a nuanced thinking. Of course, I could be wrong, but they are saying that Ramesh always means, well, that's the problem. Ramesh can't always mean Egyptians. That's what they
Mhm.
in the book. It can mean citizens, but what happens? So if Ramesh means citizens, when they use the Ramesh in that context, they're saying, well, the citizens of Egypt and these other groups of people,
Mhm.
right? So they're just using it in that context. So Ramesh or Wretch or Ramesh means citizens of citizens, and those other groups of people are kind of like foreigners. Um, sorry if y'all don't understand what I'm actually saying.
No,
Um,
I get it. I get it.
um, so in the context of all groups of people, Ramesh means citizens,
Mm-hmm.
citizens of that civilization of Tawi. Okay. Um, if used in general, it means all human beings, in my thinking. But when it's contrasted with other groups of people, like the Amu and the Heshu and the Tamhu, then we're just talking about the citizens of Tawi and those groups of people.
Okay.
Yarok sent me something. I'm trying to figure out where does he want me to read. He sent me something, and I'm not so sure where. Uh, what should I look at?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me know.
He's not speaking, and I know you want to get off, and I know I came in late, but I just want to say to our public that Dr. Jonathan Winterman messed up with cows and Kemet, right? Because I showed the sources, Ehad Kim would be cow, Okay, so I think I'll finish talking. Unless Yarok want to tell me specifically what he wants me to look at in this particular context. And he's not. Is he in the chat? Let me just see if he's in the chat. Sorry.
He said it's at the bottom of the page.
Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen, and we're gonna look at the bottom of the page. There it goes, and we're going to share the screen, and we're gonna look at the bottom of the page. Right, and then we're gonna go to the bottom of the page. Okay. So here we at the bottom of the page. And it says the people, right? Well, let me just, I'm trying to read, okay. So this hen Ramesh, right? And then he has this word, wat, right? Net, netter, wat, net, netter. So the people, and then he's using this word hen. No, that's sorry, I messed that up. This is Ramesh. This is Ramesh Awat. So this is Ramesh Watt, and so this means the Awat is cattle, and Ramesh is people. And then he's saying they constructed it God's people. I don't know. This is an interesting text. This word right here, yes, I know it's hen. Hen sometimes a servant. No, hen is sometimes. I have to look up this particular hen, but he's saying this is God's. Somehow he's making this God's. This is the Remet, which is the people, and this is a Wat, which is the cattle. So here's the people, the cattle, and that they are net. They're saying well provided for. Smash, do you see where it says well provided for? Unless this word means well provided for.
Or well provided for. I mean, the people of God's cattle are, let me see. That I don't know what is that. Maybe that first word means that. Can you click it?
Yeah, then it means what?
To provide or something. I don't know. I thought it was just henna, but let's see. Yeah, it means to present, to protect. So I guess they're using that as to provide.
All right, so let's go back. So provide, right?
Present people.
The people, provide the people, the Awat, right? Which is the cattle, net, divine.
Yeah. They're God's cattle, belonging to God. Net belonging to the nature. So the people are cattle belonging to God.
Yeah, so where's this? Merikari? This is Merikari's text, I think. Yeah. Okay, so then what's the issue? Because this is one of the textual references that I use to show that humans are cattle. Right? And here's this case again where they insert the M, but it's wretch. Right? But I don't want to get beat up by Smash today. It's too early. It says Ramesh, right? Because they insert the N, but I just think that this is just the Egyptians or so-called Egyptians. So let me just see what my brother is saying about this in the chat. And let's see, Smash Rockwell show. So let's see. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, God's people or the God's cattle, God's cattle or the people. So I agree with that. Right? I agree with God's so-called the divine cattle or God's people. So I believe I agree with that. But this is an example where I say the wretch is the well, forget what I said. I can't prove it right now. So I'll stop sharing my screen. So I give references, I give several references where the people actually say that the humans are divine cattle. I use this text. I use this text, which I think is Mercari. I use the Book of Gates. I use the Westcar Papyrus, and I also use the text from the pyramid text where the king is the Sai Kim Sa Sik Kim, and he is the black ram born of the black sheep. Yeah. So that's all I had to say. So I just wanted to check with y'all. Let's see what the comments say. Remet doesn't mean Egyptian. There's no word that's for Egyptian. That's just anachronistic. So to say that Remet does not mean the people of the land, we can go to Vigus Dictionary. So let's go to Vigus Dictionary real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so let's pull this up and let's share the screen. Share screen. And then let's go to Vigus. Great. And let's type in the word Egyptian. Or I can just type in Remet. Let's go through all the cases of Remet in a second. So here it goes right here, Remet. So let's go through all the cases of Remet, and you're going to see that Remet does mean, okay, so this version, Remet, people, mankind, humanity. Remet is tears.
Reggie, can you host?
Yeah.
All right, I'm about to make you the host. I gotta make a phone call.
Okay. Remet means cry, so that means that's where they think the word comes from, right? The crying. There's Remet too, which is people. Remet tears. Okay, so this version of Remet means man, men, mankind, Egyptians, people. So there's one. This version means man, mankind, Egyptian people. Remet over here, man, men, mankind, Egyptians, people. Okay, I'm going backwards, so I'm going this way. So let's go over here. I did that already, sorry, it's going the wrong way. This version, they're connected to other words, but I just want to see Remet by itself with no other words. And this one is man, mankind, people, which I think I showed already. Man, mankind, people. So sometimes it means man, mankind if they're just talking about all people, and sometimes it means Egyptians. I should have just did the text with Egyptians. So let's just do the text with Egyptians, see what comes up. Egyptians. Remet, Egyptians. Remet, Egyptians. Remet, Egyptians. 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 different variations. This one, Egyptians. This is another version of Remet with the goose head.
Could you put this link in the back chat to this?
Oh,
or is this something that you got downloaded on your computer?
No.
Okay.
No. Put it in the I just put it in the general chat.
All right.
Put it in the back chat, then I gotta look for it. There it goes. So over here, okay, we almost finished. I'm frozen, sorry. I'm frozen, so I can't do it. Okay, so my general point, my general point is that Ramesh in context could mean Egyptians or so-called Egyptians, their words. So let me see what else is in the chat. Okay, so it's working now. So let's go to 12. Okay, 12. Okay, the Itaby here, which is the two banks of Horus, is Egyptians. And this version right here is Remet, which we often see, which is Egyptians. Okay, so that's a wrap. It does mean that in certain contexts. The problem with the TLA is it doesn't give us the textual sources. I mean, sorry, the Vicus doesn't give us the textual sources. The TLA does give us the textual sources. So there you go. Oh, I see my brother Asan Ka. How you doing?
Top shaper. Man, just dropping in on y'all while I got 2 seconds out that damn truck.
No, it's a beautiful truck. That's how you make your money, right? So don't damn your truck. Your truck is listening. I heard you talk to Napash Da on all the things that show that Asar was venerated, and we have things attested to show that there wasn't a Asar versus nothing to show that there was a Jesus. That was interesting.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to pull the trigger on that with the Reverend.
With who? I couldn't hear you. Dropped out.
He didn't want to bite the bait. I was like, sorry, the Reverend. He debated Chris.
Hey, peace, Asar. What's up? Good to hear from you. I gotta close this down, dog. I got some business on the other line. It's hard to focus. So I'll be back later. Reggie, you gonna come live later?
No, I'm still. I got some things because I'm really upset with Dr. Winneman. I'm really upset with Dr. Winneman playing to that crowd.
All right. I'm gonna close this down. I'm gonna hit y'all up. I gotta get on this call. Peace.
All right,
peace.
Peace.